Rule number 1, don't touch the bombilla. Now this isn't necessarily an unspoken rule, but if it remains unspoken, everybody's gonna be happier. This is of course regarding drinking a mate. If you come to Argentina, odds are you're gonna be offered to drink a mate. Now this unspoken rule that I'm talking about is actually regarding the bombilla, or the big metal straw that you see here. And basically the rule is, no toques la bombilla. For some reason, we just want to touch the straw. It's just in our nature. But if the mate is made and you start touching around the bombilla, if somebody sees you, they're immediately gonna jump in there and tell you what's going on. And to dive even deeper, I'm gonna show you guys quickly how mate is made and why touching the straw is so catastrophic to the composition of a mate. So we are gonna go pour in some water here to let the yerba expand. And once the yerba expands, we can then put our bombilla in. Because if we put the bombilla in while the yerba is expanding, it's actually gonna get into the filter. You know, it's gonna expand into the filter, which is gonna clog the bombilla. Now we're gonna let this sit and we're gonna let the yerba expand. So once we've let it sit for about a minute, now we're gonna strategically place the bombilla under the mountain. We're gonna stick the bombilla into the bottom and we're going to shove it under the mountain. It's gonna kind of lift up the mountain as well, and there you have it. This is important that now we do not touch it, because the more that the bombilla moves, the more the mountain is gonna fall and collapse, the more potential that something is gonna get into the bombilla, into the filter and clog it. So now we do not want to touch the bombilla. Rule number 2, gracias. Of course, generally everybody knows that saying thank you, or in Spanish, gracias, is a very polite thing to say, and if you're a well-mannered person, you generally know when to throw thank you in or gracias. But here, saying gracias actually has a couple more implications. There's a couple more applications that you would want to use this. Of course, all the regular examples exist. If a waiter gives you your food, you say gracias. If somebody does you a favor or gives you a compliment, you say gracias. But there are other situations where gracias means something a little bit different. Ultimately, it just shows that you have a good vibe. And the two best examples that I can think of to demonstrate this vibe is as follows. So if you're walking in a heavily touristy area, Palermo, Soho, Microcentro, you're gonna have people on the streets trying to give you a menu, trying to offer you to sit down and have a drink at their restaurant. Odds are, like 90% of the time, you're gonna say no. And in many cases, tourists kind of ignore this because it happens so often. But if you ignore these people, it's actually seen as quite rude. And to completely mitigate the rudeness, all you need to do is say no, gracias. That gracias that you sneak in at the end of that sentence, it lets them know that you appreciate them. It lets them know that you know that they're just doing their job. And you just very politely want to decline and continue moving with your day without giving off any rude energy. It sounds like a little bit much just for one word, but I promise you, if you're walking around with a local, anytime somebody comes up, it's da-da-da, gracias. No, gracias. And the worker, the person on the receiving end, is just gonna feel a little bit more appreciated. The same also goes for the homeless people or the beggars on the street who are inevitably gonna come up to you and ask for a little bit of help. The reality is you can't give your money to every single person that asks. And it's up to you to decide who you want to give $1 or $2 to, but inevitably there's gonna be situations where you're gonna have to decline and say no. As I said before, a no, gracias, goes a long way, or even better, you can say disculpa, gracias, which is saying excuse me, thank you. This gracias at the end will trigger a much better response from the person, and 95% of the time, they'll leave you and move on to the next person. But also a gracias shows that you know your stuff, that you're not gonna fold if they continue to pressure you, and it also signifies that there's no ill will, you just are not willing to give up any of your money today. Guys, gracias goes a long way here, and do not hesitate to throw it in whenever you want, because everybody is going to appreciate it. And I'll toss this in as a little bonus. Por favor also goes the same way. Por favor, anytime you would say please, please, please. If you say porfa, it's like a little bit of slang, you know? It's showing, yeah, I know a little bit about Argentina. Dame eso, porfa. And if you even go further into the slang, you can say porfi. But this is going to kind of trigger a different response. This is going to kind of signify you're trying a little bit too hard, you know? So stick to a por favor, or if you really want to, a porfa. But a porfi, you gotta use with a little bit of caution. Number 3 is the Argentine superiority complex. So for my Argentinos who are watching this, don't get offended. It's true, just admit it. Argentinos have so much pride in their culture, in their country, and generally they feel like they are above the rest of Latin America. They feel as if they're a little bit more European, you know? They don't fit themselves in the same category as Latinos from South America. I'm only half Argentino, my mother was born here, but I also feel this way too. Being from North America, I'm Canadian, and I look pretty Latino. A lot of the time, I'll get called Mexican. And not that I have anything against the Mexicans, but don't call me Mexican. I'm not Mexican. These are just two completely different worlds. So with this being said, if you are visiting Argentina, keep this in mind when you're talking with the locals. They love it when people are enjoying their country. They love it that you're having an amazing experience and they're happy to share everything with you. And in return, just make them know that you appreciate Argentina, that you love Argentina just like them, and everybody is just happier overall. Don't act as if you're in just another South American country. You're in Argentina. You're in the world of soccer and mate, Messi and Maradona, asado and medialunas. We are unique, we are awesome, and we are different. So I'll slip this in as a quick bonus point. One of the best parts of Argentina is the laid-back culture. When you come here, embrace this. Learn from this. Don't let the little things stress you out. Don't be uptight and strict. Let loose, be social. If somebody's late, who cares? There's no rush, just relax. Life is good. Enjoy the moment, appreciate the people that you're with, and that's that. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, I have many more on the way, and I have lots of vlogs throughout my entire experience here in Buenos Aires. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a like to let me know that this video appeals to you, and I will see you guys in the next video.